He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior.
Hello friends, welcome to the video. Take the story of two brothers who are twins. One grows up to be an alcoholic bum. The other becomes an extremely successful businessman. When the alcoholic is asked why he became a drunk, he replies, "My father was a drunk." When the successful businessman is asked why he became successful, he says, "My father was a drunk." Same background, same upbringing, different choices. The brothers chose different thoughts regarding the identical experience they've been in. One took the fact that their father was a drunk as an example for him to imitate, thus making him want to. In contrast, the other brother thought the same idea as something not to be mimicked, making him doing the opposite thing until he became successful. Those thoughts, over the years, shaped the circumstances where they are now. Whatever viewpoint they had about the situation was reflected on how they are doing now. In other words, whatever that is in our mind can be fully and precisely reflected through our actions. It is due to the process where thinking creates images in our mind. These images, in turn, will control feelings like joy or sadness. Such feelings will cause us to do actions on how we would deal with each one of them. And lastly, these actions shall create results. Therefore, the mind, particularly thinking, implies reflection and creation of results. This is simplified through the very common cliché, "You are what you think of." Unbiased towards any impression whenever we look at the outside world, or just any of the things it consists of, we tend to have a very strong impression of its substantiality. What we probably don't realize is that the strong impression is merely our own mind's interpretation of what it sees. We think that the strong, solid reality really exists outside, and when we look within ourselves, perhaps we feel empty. This is a common misconception among people. The wrong mental attitude that fails to realize that the strong impression that appears to truly exist outside of us is actually projected by our own mind. Everything we experience, feelings, sensations, even shapes and colors, comes from our minds. To illustrate the point clearly, imagine one morning you woke up with a foggy mind and a vague visual of the day ahead. Isn't it that the world around you also appears to be dark and foggy too? On the other hand, when the world seems beautiful and light one day, you should understand that basically those impressions are coming from your own mind, rather than from changes in the external environment. Therefore, instead of misinterpreting whatever you experience in life through judgmental wrong conceptions, you should realize that it's not outer reality but only mind. For example, when everybody in a classroom looks at a single object, say the teacher, each of the students has a particularly different notion on him, even though simultaneously they are looking at the same thing, or person for that matter. These different experiences don't come from the teacher, they come from the students' minds. Although they all see the same face, the same body, and the same clothes, their interpretations are still superficial. Analyzing deeply the way they perceive him and the way they feel about him is individual and different, all of which came from the mind of the students and not from the physical manifestation of the teacher. This sort of equalizing wisdom of the mind is not likely to make any unfair preferences on any impressions made. It only affirms that every impression made on a subject in the outside world is not a fact, but an ideal of the mind. That's all for today, friends. Please leave your like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.
Try not to become a man of success, but rather become a man of value.